Hey friends, how's it going? So a lot of folks reached out to me and asked about my PC's specs after the last video I made about working in Cubase. As I mentioned before, I did a big old PC upgrade, and now I'm kind of working with this Mac and PC hybrid setup here in my studio. And I thought that it would be cool just to do a video about my entire setup here. And I'll show you how I'm able to create content and videos quite effectively now, and hopefully this will give you some ideas. So let me show you around. So I have two computers that I'm using for music production at this point. I have a Mac Mini with an M1 chip, and quite frankly, I thought it was pretty fast until I upgraded my PC, and now I know what the true definition of fast is, but more on that in a bit. But yeah, I'm a Logic user. I've been a Logic user for more than a decade now. I'm pretty comfortable with it, and I like it. So I'm also a PC user, of course, and this ominous black tower you see down here, this is called Stevie's Beast. So this is a custom-built PC. It has a Ryzen 7 7700X processor, 4.5 gigahertz with 8 cores, 16 threads. It's loaded up with 64 gigabytes of RAM, 2 terabytes HDD, and 1 terabyte SSD. It's running a GeForce RTX 3060 video card and has a Liquid Freezer 2 series all-in-one Arctic cooling system. It also has an MSI 750 watt, 80 plus gold certified power supply. I've already put it to the test. I've loaded up some really intensive orchestral templates in Cubase, and it makes my Mac Mini feel sluggish in comparison. It's pretty remarkable. I'm now doing all my video editing on the PC as well in Premiere Pro, and the video card along with the processing power just makes editing exponentially easier and faster. So I'm really happy with the purchase, and if I ever want to upgrade the components in any way I can, because it's a PC, and that's the beauty of having a PC, and that's one of the reasons that I bought it. Is it a little overkill for what I need? Probably, yes, I'm aware of that, but I'd rather have something that's overkill than underkill, if that's a word. So I am running Cubase 12 on my PC, which I'm really happy about. I won't go into all of my thoughts on Cubase in this video. I did a little video last week about my first finished track in Cubase. If you want to go check that out, I'll link that up above. What I do want to talk about right now is streaming and recording videos. Some of you might be wondering how I make these videos and how do I stream and the gear and the software that I use. So I want to share some thoughts on that right now. At the moment, everything is running pretty smoothly. It's working pretty good. But if you have any suggestions or any thoughts you want to share at all, as always, please let me know in the comments below. So capturing my Logic workflow in OBS is pretty simple. It's pretty hassle-free. I have found personally that using the Mac Mini M1, it's not quite powerful enough to do the streaming and recording while also running, some pretty intensive Logic sessions without some hiccups. So what I do is I pipe the HDMI out from my Mac Mini into a Camlink 4K capture card, which is going into my PC. And the audio is simply being bussed from the line out of my Apollo into my PC's 2-channel Focusrite interface. So all of my streaming and recording duties are being offloaded from my Mac Mini and onto my PC, which captures it effortlessly, and it relieves the Mac Mini from having to bear the load on its CPU. It works beautifully. And as for talkback, I'm using this Shure SM7B microphone here. And in my UA console on my Mac, I'm just making sure that the input is unmuted, and that signal is just being captured by my PC's Focusrite, as well as any other audio signal that's coming out of my Mac Mini. If you're interested in streaming your audio production process, I'd highly recommend looking into getting a secondary computer to handle all of the streaming or recording. It can be pretty intense to do it all on one computer, unless you're using something like my Beast, which can handle it no problem. So if I want to stream or make a video of myself using Cubase, like I did last week, everything is handled within the PC itself. And that is a slightly different setup in OBS. Let me show you how it works. In order to route the audio from Cubase into OBS, it's not as simple as just selecting your computer's audio interface as the audio capture device in OBS. There's a few different ways to do this. What I've done is just install the Reaper VST Effects Suite, which is totally free. And just coming back to Cubase here, so you can see I've got my control room window here opened up on the right. I think control room is only with Cubase Pro, so if you don't have it, I could be wrong about that, but if you don't have it, you can just put the plugin on your stereo out channel. So I'll just pull up this plugin. It's called Restream Standalone. I'm going to set it to send audio, and I'm going to choose local broadcast. And just a little hack, if you end up doing this, change the name of the identifier from default to just 1. It's this weird little glitch with the plugin. I had to do some digging on the internet to figure this out. If you don't do that, it might end up sounding really crackly. Okay, coming over to OBS. So I got my display capture here all set up. So for my audio, I'm just going to go to my audio source up on the left here, click on filters, and you can see I have this same plugin loaded here in my filters. So Restream standalone, open the plugin interface. You're going to set it to receive audio/MIDI, so identifier number 1 as well. And now when I go back to Cubase and play the track, you can hear it crystal clear. And yeah, it's pretty much that simple. So for my talkback mic, I'm just using my Focusrite as the input here, because if you remember, this mic signal is just coming from the output of my Apollo still. Nothing's changed there. I can even record that signal as a separate audio file in Logic while I'm working in Cubase if I want to. But as it stands, while I've got things recording here in OBS, all the levels are just set up and ready to go. And I just get one MP4 file, and that just makes things easy and it's hassle-free. In terms of my camera setup, I've got 3 different angles to choose from here. One is my front-facing webcam that captures my face, which I tend to use while I'm recording the DAW view. I also have an overhead webcam that captures my keyboard view, and this is an angle I use when I'm recording content for my production courses. And I also have this view that you're seeing right now, which is captured by my iPhone 13. I'm using a free app called Camo, which converts the video feed from my iPhone into something that I can use in OBS. And by the way, I will put links to all of these things that I'm talking about in the description of this video. I also have a Stream Deck Mini, which I use to switch views easily in OBS. And that's about it. So my OBS setup is essentially the same, regardless if I'm using Logic or Cubase. The only real difference is that in OBS, I'm using the Camlink 4K as my video source for Logic, and I'm using the screen capture as my video source for Cubase. Speaking of screens, you'll see that I only have one monitor on my desk here. And of course, both the HDMI out from my Mac and my PC are both being fed into that single monitor. I just switch back and forth between HDMI 1 or 2, depending on which computer I'm using. Other than what I've just shown you, I really don't have a whole lot of gear. I have this Rode NT1A wide diaphragm condenser microphone that I use for recording vocals or acoustic guitar. I also have 2 Slate pencil condenser mics, which I use for various different things. I got these acoustic guitars on the wall here behind me. I use these Audio-Technica headphones here for monitoring, and I also have 2 powered Yamaha speakers as well. And yeah, other than that, I've got a lot of sample libraries. I got a lot of sample libraries and plugins, and that's pretty much all I need. If I'm working on a project that requires like a more complicated setup, like, recording drums, then I just rent the studio time. And luckily, I've got a couple of really good buds here in town that can hook me up with that kind of thing at very low cost. And hopefully, sometime in the near future, I can move into my own proper studio space. That would be cool. But, right now, I feel like I got what I need, and I'm happy and I get the job done. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. It's something a little bit different than the usual, talking about music production or music licensing. And yeah, I think it's good to switch it up once in a while. And it's fun for me to give you a little studio tour here. So thanks for watching. As always, if you're interested in leveling up your music production game, if you're interested in learning about how to succeed in music licensing, then please check out productionmusicacademy.com. I'll put that link in the description of this video. We got a big Black Friday sale coming up next week too. So if you're interested in membership, I would recommend holding off until that sale comes around. In the meantime, please share your thoughts in the comments below. If you have any questions, hit me up and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Take care, guys. See you next time. Bye.